D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So I finished the third episode of Hawkeye, and we're going to break it down and everything. I have to just say, like, I enjoyed this episode. I mean, it's like not like over, like, I don't know why I like this show compared to the other Marvel TV shows, because the other Marvel TV shows I did not like. They all suck. They're just not good. For some odd reason, I like this one. Maybe it's because it's more like, feet on the ground kind of a superhero kind of thing, with Hawkeye and Hawkeye not having powers. But I don't know. And I liked this episode. It had some good stuff in it. And we'll talk about that. I really liked the trick arrows. I thought they were great. That I really also liked that fight scene slash car chase. That was really great. Okay, but before I get started on all of this, I want to say if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine always get pushed to the back of the line. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so like I said, there was some good stuff in this episode, and we'll talk about when we get to it, and then some Easter eggs. Not too many Easter eggs, but some Easter eggs. Just a pretty good one with Kingpin and everything. And there is the rumor that Vincent D'Onofrio will be reprising his role in this show and in the Echo show. But we'll see. You never know, because Daredevil's coming to Spider-Man and then the MCU and everything. We'll see what happens there. All right. So why don't we just go ahead and break down this episode, and I'll tell you what I liked and everything as we go along. All right. So it starts off with Echo as a little girl. And she's obviously in a public school, and she can't hear because she's deaf and everything. But she's trying to pay attention. And we'll talk about that when we get to her dad. So she's, she sees the writing book and everything, and she's trying to read the words coming out of her teacher's mouth. But she only gets a little bit of at a time. So she starts filling in all this stuff by herself in her little book. And the teacher comes over and she's like, you need to pay attention kind of thing. But she sees that she's written in everything correctly. And she gives her a little smile kind of thing and everything. This little girl, by the way, even though she didn't have any lines, and I don't know if this little girl actor is deaf, but she did a good job, and she's super cute. Look how cute she is. So then after that, we hop over to her with her dad. Now, this actor that plays her dad, I do not know his name because I didn't look it up before, but I've seen him before. He is fantastic, and he does a really good job, even though he's got maybe 5 minutes total in this show. But she asks him about dragon. She's like, "Are dragons real?" And he's like, "No." But he's like, "We don't know because they live in another realm or whatnot." And she's all like, something about could they come to this realm and everything. And I wanted to be all like, "No, dragons are real. Shang-Chi just proved that they are real, and they are in another realm." So her dad didn't lie to her, and he talks about how they can crossing over into our realm or whatever. And she's all like, I thought you said I could go to the deaf school. And he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, basically, we couldn't afford it. She asked, I thought you said we could afford it. And he's like, I'm sorry, kind of thing. But he's like, and she's like, how am I going to learn when there's no kids like me? And he's like, you've got to watch, and you've got to observe, and you got to take it all in, kind of thing. Which speaks to, poor people. Totally get it. I totally get the whole poor thing. I'm poor. And, and he wants the best for his daughter, but he can't afford it because, he's a gangster or a mobster because he's in the tracksuit mafia. I love those guys. They didn't say dude or bro this time. They were all like, I missed that. I missed the bro thing. Anyways, okay. So he's sitting here talking, and he calls her little dragon, and he's all like, you're special kind of thing, but you need to travel in between both worlds kind of thing. And I liked that his, the dragon realms crossing over comparison thing with his daughter. I liked that a lot. You did a good job. So then we go over to her karate academy. By the way, don't take karate, take something else. Like, I've done these karate schools, and it's like, listen, you're never going to use that in a real fight. Okay. Let's just put that way. But anyway, so these two boys are fighting, and she's watching their feet because she notices this little guy. He does the same thing. So then they take a break because the black kid beats the white kid. And her dad comes by and he's all like, hey, you remember it's speed over size. That's what he says. And he's like, your uncle is going to take you home. And there's the uncle, and he pinches her cheek, and it's totally Vincent D'Onofrio's laugh. And I mean, you can't tell if that's his hand or not, but it's probably his hand and everything. So it's obviously Kingpin. I'm pretty sure we'll see him again. If not in this show, we'll see him probably in what's it called, Echo the show. So she gets up for her match, and he notices her leg right there, because the older actress in real life, I don't know if this little girl actress has a prosthetic leg, but the actress in that plays Echo in real life does have a prosthetic leg, and she's deaf. And she's deaf. So she takes him down, and then it flashes to her being an adult, and she's fighting this guy. He notices her leg too, and they look at that as if it's a weakness and everything, which never look at anything as a weakness, because that person has obviously taken whatever it is that you're looking at as a weakness, and they've obviously built up a strength for that. Like her deafness you might look at that as a weakness, but she's learned to, use that, because and we'll talk about that later on. Anyways, okay, she faces this guy, and she takes him down. She goes back to this little shop or whatever, and Ronan is in there just killing everybody. And she goes in, and she sees Ronan kill her, stab her dad. And he's all like, "You need to get out of here." And she's like, "I'm not leaving you." And he's like, "I'm already gone." And he puts his hand on her face, and that's the comic book. And I don't know too much about this character because I haven't read that Hawkeye comic book, because I think that she's in there. I did order the first one, the volume 1. I think there might be 2 volumes, but she has a big handprint over her face, like an Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings. She's got a very cool look. So then he dies, and she's very sad. So we pop over to today. And I love that this takes place in a KB Toys. If you're like me and you still remember KB Toys, yes, so good. Like Toys R Us, those kind of places, they don't exist anymore, and it's a bummer. Kids don't play with toys anymore. It's a dying thing, it's a bummer. Yeah, don't let your kids play with phones and stuff. Me and my kids, we play with toys all the time. We get out the blocks and stuff. Anyways, all right, sorry. Humble brag. Anyways, they got him on his little pony and her on a spaceship, and they're just having a hey-o time with this and everything. He's like, "I'm bored." And so they're sitting there, and this guy's on the phone with his girlfriend, and then she's like, "You okay?" He's like, "I buy my girlfriend Imagine Dragon tickets, and she decides she wants to take her sister." And she's all like, "Well," and he's like, "Well," she's like, "Well, cool, you got out of it." And he's like, "I love Imagine Dragons." She does not like Imagine Dragons. And she's like, "Well, then," she's like, "what you need to do is you need to apologize and say, listen, I'm sorry. You both deserve an apology because she, didn't take your feelings into account. And then you bought Imagine Dragon tickets for yourself, not for her. So you should apologize for that." And she's right. He goes off and everything. She's like, "See, we're communicating." So then she's sitting there talking to him, and he comes over and he's like, "You know what's your problem? You talk too much. Maybe I should rip your throat out." And I'm like, did she really talk that much? I mean, she maybe talked for like maybe tops 5 minutes. I don't even think it was that. And she talks too much now. But I'm pretty sure this guy, 1 sentence for him is probably too much. Then Echo comes down the stairs, and she notices that he's got a hearing aid, but she's talking to him kind of thing. And she's like, "You shouldn't rely on technology." We're talking about his hearing aid. And, that's the thing, like, take your weakness and turn it into your strength kind of thing. And so this guy interprets or whatnot, and she wants to know about, and he's like, she had nothing to do with the Ronin suit. She put it on. She has nothing to do with it and everything. And she talks about, and he's like, "Ronan's not back." And she's like, "How do you know?" And she's like, "Because he's dead. Ronan's dead." And she's like, "How do you know?" And he's like, "Oh, but who killed him?" He's like, "Black Widow." And then this guy is all like, "Oh, great. The person that killed him Ronan's dead, and the person that killed him is dead." And he's like, and they're like, "How do you know?" And he's like, "I was there." So then Kate Bishop she grabs her. She has like a flashback of her dad, and she grabs her and starts choking her. And she's like, I put it on at the thing. I'm not really running or whatever. Oh, and they tape him behind his back so he can get out. So he gets out and he's running through this KB Toys. And this was a good scene. I liked this a lot. He's fighting with these guys, jumping over stuff. He fights with her. She's kicking his butt. And she smashes his hearing aid. But she's kicking his butt. He jumps on this. I love how he jumped on this trampoline and landed in this office and found his bow and arrows. That was pretty fun. And they're fighting. He shoots his bow. I loved this when he jumped and then he shot the bow and shot this guy in the I think in the ear or whatnot. But then landed in that ball pit. And he landed in that ball pit, and then he like got underneath it like a shark or whatever. And then he stabbed these two guys in the feet, and he just kept firing his bow. It was very cool. Very, very cool. I enjoyed it. I loved when she like came down and flung and then swung around and knocked that dude's feet out from underneath him. That was very cool. Anyway, so they get out of here. And she's like, hey, I think maybe I should drive. And he's all like, get in, drive and everything. And he can't hear her. So it's like, it was very funny. I liked that whole thing here. So then they get out, and I liked this film. The directors here, they filmed this as if you were in the car watching what was going on. I like that, like a very POV kind of thing. Like as you're doing it, like you're turning your head and everything. And then it got to this point, and I was like, that's not how it is. So then she's firing all these trick arrows, and they were very, very cool. Like this first one, which did this, like she called it the putty arrow, but this looks more like goop or whatever. It reminded me of Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. So then that's all over the thing. And she's all like, hey, it'd be way easier if you were turned around. He's like, this be way easier if you were turned around. And she's like, see, we're communicating. I was like, that's pretty funny. So she shoots this explosion arrow, which is cool and everything. And then Echo's all mad. And so she shoots this one. She's like, please be a good one. Please be a good one. And she shoots it, and it throws out all these little things and grabs all these trees. I liked that. And pulls it towards the car or whatever, and they have to stop. So then they get the acid arrows and take out these light stoplights or whatnot. And they're on the bridge. And she fires a smoke arrow. Sorry, did I miss that one? Anyways. There it is. She fires the smoke arrow. Oh, and she fires the plunger arrow that lands, and that's that right there. And everything. And that comes back later. She's like, a plunger arrow, what's that good for? And everything. There it is right there. And then they stop because there's a traffic jam on the bridge. And he's like, they're gonna ram us. And he's like, and then they pull out an arrow, and he's like, aim high. And he's got a PIM arrow right there. It says PIM right there. Sorry, it's a little blurry right there. Grab it. He's like, aim high. So she aims high and shoots it up in the air. You can't really see it. It's right there. And it's up in the air, and he shoots the PIM arrow, and it turns it very large. It turns into a big arrow, and it comes down on the truck and then takes that out. Very cool. I like that a lot. I hope we see the PIM arrows again. So then he's all like, he realizes he's out of arrows, and he's like, he's got one arrow left. He gives it to her. He's like, cover me. And it's a USB port arrow. And if you remember from the animated one, from the What If, that was in the animated What If one. I actually liked those sequences, that post-apocalyptic sequences with him and Natalia. That's the only part of that episode that I like. Anyways, so then he goes to grab the suction cup arrow, and she's all like, you don't know what this arrow does, stay back and everything. And then she fires it, and it's a big nothing burger. So then they jump off here, and he shoots the grappling hook arrow right in there, and then they swing through, and they land on this, and he suction cups that arrow, and he uses the thing to hold on. And she's like, I totally underestimated the suction cup arrow. So then they're sitting on here. He tells her that she's a really good archer. She's like, thanks and everything. And she's like, I need to check in on the dog and everything. He's like, hey, we need to check in on the dog. He's been there all by himself. I liked that whole joke with the whole, I can't hear, we're just repeating what we say kind of thing. So we go back to her apartment. I love the Rogers, the musical billboard. I hope we see that again. That'd be fun. So then back there, he's putting peas on his head, and he gets a call, and he's like, hey babe, sorry, I can't hear you and everything. She's like, little boy. And he's talking to his son. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? And he's like, everyone is asleep. He's bored. And he's like, oh, you're bored, early bird, huh? Everything. And so he's all like, he's like, go read a book until mommy gets home. And he's like, home for movie night or for movies. He's like, oh, our movie marathon. I'm not gonna be able to make it, buddy, but I'll be there for sweaters and stuff like that. And he says, it's okay if you can't be home for Christmas. And I was like, oh, that's so sad. And I had my son next to me watching this. So I was like hugging him. I was like, oh, I love you, buddy. I was like, we're going to do Christmas decorations this weekend. I promise. And it's sad because, you see in her face, like she's all like, oh, poor little dude. And then poor Hawkeye, Clint, that he can't be there with his family because he's dealing with this nonsense that she kind of started. So then they're moving out of KB Toys, which is a bummer and everything. And he's like, we'll be out of here in a few minutes, but hey, can I talk to you? And he's like, they don't know sign language, so we're good to go, and he's like, if you keep going after Ronan, we're supposed to keep a low profile. If you keep going after Ronan, your uncle's going to be mad. Talking about Kingpin, because in the comic book, he's like her adopted dad kind of thing. And she's all like, who's in charge? And he's like, you are. And she's like, that's right, and everything. This actress does a very good job. Well, both these two, he does a good job too. Everybody's doing a good job acting wise in this show. If they're not, I'll tell you. So then she sends him a text and it says, good thing they call you Hawkeye and not Hawk Ear. And he's like, and I was like, that's a good one. I liked that a lot. His phone is very old because it's a flip phone. They're bringing flip phones back. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's a flip phone. And I'm all like, man, that's so old, but hey, whatever. It's cool. I used to like Blackberries a lot. They got rid of those pretty much. Anyways. Okay. So then this Asian woman, she's like, are you the doctor or whatever? She's like, can you fix this? And she's like, give me 5 minutes. And she's like, see. So they go to this diner and they're having breakfast and everything. And she's talking to him and she's just like, all this stuff. And he's like, and then he puts in his ear, the earring, and she's like, was that out the whole time? I thought that was funny too. Very funny. I like the whole hearing aid not being able to hear thing. It's very funny. And then she's like, I just feel like, I waited, for this moment to become a superhero kind of thing. He's like, yeah, I remember when I had that moment. He's like, having this life, you give up a lot. And she's like, yeah, but you gain a lot, like a cool costume and trick arrows. So she draws and she's like, I've got an idea for she's like, you got to work on your branding. She's like, cause you need to be noticed. And, he's like, for 20 some odd years, it's been my job to not be noticed. She's like, she's like, what do you think about this costume, but in purple? And he's all like, he's like, what's that on my head? And she's like, these wings are like a hawk for Hawkeye. And then she's like, the H, because for Hawkeye. And he's all like, if I put that on, my wife would divorce me. Kind of funny. That's funny. A little marriage humor there. I say stuff like that all the time. And I can't remember what she says here right now. Shoot, I'm sorry, you guys. So he gets up and everything, and then she's talking to Pizza, the dog. Except his name is, what is his name in the comic book? It's not Pizza, the dog. It's something else. I can't remember. But she's trying to name him right now, and she says, Little Caesar, Captain Pizza, and then something else. I can't remember. Sorry, I didn't write it down. I literally just got done watching it. But she calls him Little Caesar, which is funny, and then Captain Pizza, I think. So then they're walking through and they're talking about, because this part they're talking about something about the tracksuit mafia and how he took them down. But something about like he started from the top guy, or maybe he started from the bottom up. I can't remember. Sorry, you guys. But in here, he's talking about how Jack is involved, her soon to be stepdad, how he's involved. And he's like, you think she's involved? And he's like, yeah, he was at the auction. Oh, and then I'll give me 2 seconds. I'll talk about that. He was at the auction and he's like, he handed me he fought with what's his face. And then he handed me a butterscotch and he's like, that's not illegal. But then he also talks about, he's like, what was it at the auction? Was it just the suit that they were looking for? And she's like, I don't know. And it's the watch. They were looking for the watch. So, and he's like, I'd hate to have a Stark Tech out there, just running around. And little does he know, it already is. But I'm curious about the watch. Like, what's going on with the watch? And I'm trying to see if there's anything going on with like the Marvel TV shows or anything else with the watch. But I don't. So far, I haven't found anything. And by looking for stuff, I mean, I've Googled extensively, you guys know, research. Anyways, so then they need to get into her mom's penthouse, gorgeous penthouse, by the way, to get into her security company, because she's like, she'll have stuff on Jack. So they get in here into this place, which is just Architectural Digest. Oh my God. I look at that foyer. It's beautiful. Rich people. Like, I'm jealous, and I don't hate rich people. I'm just jealous. And yeah, I hate being poor. I don't know about you, but anyways, so she's like, yeah, I swung from that chandelier and broke my arm. And I'm like, oh, you poor thing. Anyways, and she's like, my great grandfather built the building. I'm all like, yeah, I wish my great grandfather had built a building that I could live in the penthouse. Anyways, so then they go to the computer, and he's like, check out Kazi if he has anything. I don't know what that is. I can't remember. I remember and everything. And I didn't look it up because I literally just got done watching this. But anyway, so she looks it up and she gets locked out, but he senses something. His little Hawkeye sense goes off, and he goes to the house, and he's all like, what are you doing in my house? The swordsman, everything. Very cool. And then that's where the episode ends. And it was very cool. So what are they going to do? Very first scene, next episode, ching, 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 fighty, daddy likes and everything. I really liked it. I liked this episode for 2 reasons. I liked it because even though, like, I know some people online were like, oh, this is like, they were about the first 2 episodes, like, it's boring and it's slow, but I don't think so with this. Like, with the other Marvel shows, I didn't like them because I just thought that they were just, I mean, dumb. And depending on which show it is, I have different thoughts on why I didn't like them. But anyways, so this one, I like it because, like I said, I feel like it's more boots on the ground. But the 2 reasons I like this episode is, one, I thought that the action sequence with the car was very good. I liked it a lot. It was the best part of the episode, in my opinion. But it, held my attention. And like I said, those trick arrows were very cool, and I liked it a lot. Second thing that I liked about this episode was the humor. I mean, it wasn't dry kind of thing, but it was very funny, like almost dad jokey like, and I'm a dad, so I get it and everything. But I did like it a lot. The hearing aid stuff, I just like every time I was like either laughed or like got a little chuckle out of it because it was funny. Like the hawk ear, the good thing they call you Hawkeye, not hawk ear. That's good. That's good. So yeah, I liked this episode, you guys, and I hope I continue to like this show because it can go downhill real quick. I mean, which would bum me out, but what are you gonna do? All right, you guys, that's my breakdown and review of this episode. I will be continue. I'm glad I picked it up because I wasn't going to pick up any more of these Marvel shows because I've been very disappointed in the Marvel shows, and I was just going to give up on them. But then I saw the trailer for this, and I was like, all right, they're sucking me back in like a tractor being and everything. But yeah, I did like this episode, and so far I like this show. We only got 3 episodes left, so let's see what they do, you guys. And Yelena's supposed to pop up in the last episode, according to Scoopers on Twitter. So, and apparently maybe Kingpin might show up that last episode too. I hope so. I like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. I liked Daredevil, so I hope he shows up and all that good stuff. All right, you guys, I'm done talking now. Go ahead and tell me what your favorite trick arrow was. What was your favorite trick arrow? I liked the Pym arrow. It was very cool. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on my next Hawkeye breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Bye.